Frank Morris, a seasoned criminal, is sent to the infamous Alcatraz prison known for its inescapability. Despite its reputation, Frank has successfully escaped from numerous high-security prisons before. Alcatraz, an island prison surrounded by turbulent waters, seems like the ultimate challenge. But Frank, with his resourcefulness, sets his mind on escaping once again. Upon arriving at Alcatraz, Frank is searched thoroughly and locked in a solitary cell. He meets fellow inmates Litmus and Wolf. Litmus is an older inmate who has a pet. Rat and Wolf, another inmate, tries to provoke Frank. Frank, however, ignores the provocation and focuses on understanding the prison's layout. Soon, he catches the attention of the prison's warden, who warns him about the difficulty of escaping from Alcatraz. One day, Frank discovers a small nail clipper during a search, which he hides in his Bible. This seemingly small item will play a key role in his plans. During a group shower, Wolf tries to provoke Frank again, but this time, Frank reacts and beats him up. This act establishes Frank's tough persona, and no one dares challenge him thereafter. Frank spends much of his time in the prison library, reading history books and befriending English, a librarian serving a life sentence. English shares Frank's passion for learning, and they form a close bond. Frank also meets Doc, a talented artist who has been in Alcatraz for years. Doc believes that art has kept him sane in such a harsh environment. The prison, however, is a place where mental breakdowns are common, and Frank begins to consider the toll the prison takes on its inmates. One day, while in the carpenter's shop, Frank overhears a conversation about the possibility of escaping. This conversation sparks an idea in Frank's mind. Escaping from Alcatraz isn't impossible, but it will require a lot of planning. Frank decides to start his escape plan by scraping the cement around the grill in his cell using the nail clipper. He works on it at night, hiding his progress from the guards. Over time, the cement becomes weaker, but the process is slow. Frank then decides to use his spoon, which has been worn down, to create a more effective tool for scraping. As the days pass, Frank begins to make significant progress. Frank also starts working with fellow inmates John and Clarence, who have been incarcerated for a long time. They decide to assist him in his plan to escape. Frank's idea is to escape through the ventilation system. To accomplish this, they need to create a raft to sail across the cold, turbulent waters that surround the island. Clarence, who works in the prison clothing department, agrees to steal materials like raincoats and rubber cement, which can be used to make the raft and life jackets. In the meantime, Frank continues scraping the cement around the grill. He faces setbacks when the guards conduct cell searches, but Frank manages to hide his tools. He also begins creating a fake head to use as a decoy during the escape. The plan requires them to replace the real bars with fake ones to avoid detection. The fake head is made from materials found in the prison, such as hair from the barber shop and newspapers. As the escape date approaches, Frank, John, and Clarence finalize their plans. They need to cut through a locked metal door to reach the outside. The solution comes when Charlie, another inmate, finds an old fan in the prison. The fan becomes their key tool for cutting through the door. With this new tool, Frank and the others are able to progress further. The night of the escape arrives and Frank, John, and Clarence are ready. They use the fake heads to trick the guards, while Frank works on cutting through the door. However, just as they are about to escape, a guard comes close. Frank hides, and they narrowly avoid detection. The next morning, the warden notices that Frank's cell is empty. It appears that Frank has successfully escaped. Frank, John, and Clarence make their way to the prison roof. They have to navigate carefully to avoid being seen by the guards. Once on the roof, they find a way to slip past the perimeter fence and into the open. They then begin to inflate the makeshift raft, but the process is difficult. They manage to inflate it just enough to use it, and they set off across the water, hoping to reach freedom. The next day, the entire prison is in shock when they discover Frank's escape. The warden and the guards launch an immediate search, but by then, Frank, John, and Clarence are already far from the island. Despite the harsh conditions, they manage to evade capture. The search continues for weeks, but there is no sign of them. Frank's escape from Alcatraz remains one of the most famous prison breaks in history, and no one knows for sure if he ever made it to safety. This incredible feat is remembered as a testament to Frank's determination and ingenuity. He proved that even the most secure prison could be breached with the right amount of planning, patience, and perseverance. Alcatraz, once thought to be inescapable, was finally breached by Frank Morris and his fellow escapees.